Shut up and sit down.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome out once again to Vicious Rants, and of course, I'm your host, Mr. Main Event himself, the often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious, and we are going over Raw this week. Was in New Orleans, Louisiana, and before we get into this week's show, just like always, we're gonna switch gears, talk about last week via the SmackDown Rewind and the big highlights from last week's SmackDown. It started out with for the Fatal 4-Way contract signing. You had Nick Aldis in the ring. Out came Uncle Allen, and then L.A. Knight. Yeah, dummy. Yeah, let me talk to you. Then Randy Orton. Now, before Randy Orton came out, though, it was kind of a surreal moment to just see AJ Styles, L.A. Knight, yeah, formerly known as Eli Drake, yeah, and Nick Aldis, formerly known as Magnus, all former TNA World Champions in a WWE ring, all at the same time, man. That's not a knock on TNA in any way, shape, or form, especially with the rebrand that they, especially with the reboot that they just did. Cause man, that's a whole other thing I could do a whole episode talking about if I want, but save that for another day. It was just, I'm just saying, from a fan perspective, if you knew, you knew, and just seeing all three of them in there, like, wow, that's actually kind of cool. Start from one spot and come here, kind of like everything going in one whole circle aspect. Then out came Randy. All three guys signed the contracts, and then out came mein savior, Paul Heyman, emphasizing on how, listen, while you do a good job, albeit mediocre, running this show, do you think anyone higher up than you? You think these fans, you think the board, you think anyone is going to want Roman Reigns? More to the point, you think my tribal chief Roman Reigns would want to participate in this type of a match? No, sir. No, sir. No. Roman Reigns will not sign this contract. So good day, sir. And then Paul Heyman went to go and leave. Nick Aldis stopped him dead in his tracks. Well, Paul, if that's the case and that's on how you feel, perhaps Roman would like to participate in watching a triple threat match for the vacated WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. And that just made Paul stop, like, he came back, and just as he was about to go and talk his talk, then LA Knight, yeah, wound up talking about how he was this close to beating him, and come Royal Rumble, he's gonna win. And then AJ Styles talked about on how it's going to be his time. And then Randy Orton talked about on how it's going to be his time. Everyone was talking about on how it's going to be how they're going to be the one to beat Roman. And then Randy wound up talking about on how, listen, I got Solo later tonight. After I get I'm going to show Roman everything the kind of ass whooping I'm going to give him, I'm giving Solo tonight. So you better make sure he tunes in to watch. So, either way, the three challengers have signed the contract. Roman has not, and Nick Aldis has insisted Paul Heyman needs to have Roman sign it. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. Now, the other big things that happened on SmackDown, Santos Escobar, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo wound up having a trios match against Carlito, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Phoenix from the LWO. It was a good match. I dug it. Santos, Angel, and Humberto, they wound up getting the win. Not much of a surprise on that aspect because, you know, you want to build up the new team and the new guys that are on the roster. So, understandable, no arguments there. And then, yes, boys! SmackDown's two most tastiest snacks came out for a tag match against Tyler Bate and Butch, the returning Pete Dunne. That's right. Butch is done and over with, and out came the bruiserweight Pete Dunne, and good God almighty, it's good to see him back in the Pete Dunne name and gimmick. And I know some folks made a very valid point of, well, to the common fan, what's the difference between Pete Dunne and Butch? Well, the commentators did point out on there that being Pete Dunne was that missing piece of what he needed from, as Butch just being at this level, but just going back to roots and being Pete Dunne, boom, upping your game some. You know, so basically kind of like that. I mean, you got a story and you got reasoning. Now, as far as the match went, it was a good match. Good match. I liked it. Tyler and Dunne, they got the win. And it's really cool to see Tyler Bate actually on SmackDown. I gotta say that also. So, as far as Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne go, I see them being title contenders for the tag titles, but not legitimate potential title contenders. More like, hey, they won a random number one contenders match, and now they're going to challenge for the titles at X Day. I don't see them being legitimate ones just yet. Give a few weeks to maybe a month or two, get some momentum behind the team. And then we'll talk. We had a KO show segment with Kevin Owens bringing out the walking douche nozzle, Logan Paul, explaining the reasoning behind why Paul has an issue with KO, and going back to 3 years ago at WrestleMania, KO stunned him. It was his first Mania. He didn't like that, and then he talked about on how he's a viral sensation, he's a big megastar, he's this, he's that, he's everything Kevin Owens isn't. And KO just looked at him and was like, yeah, and? Listen, and I'm paraphrasing all this, mind you. I'm not built like you. I'm not some big time millionaire. I'm not this, I'm not that. What I am is a fighter, and come Royal Rumble, I'm going to kick your ass. So, and honestly, listen, I've been a huge Kevin Owens fan since his early Ring of Honor days with him and El Generico. So, yeah, I can't really argue. I've been a huge, I'm all pulling for him. I'm pulling for KO. We had a women's tag title action with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter again. Going against the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Attractive pagan Scottish women as a tag team. Somebody in WWE Creative stole my dream journal. Wade, did you sell them my ideas again? Or did you sell them stories from my dream journal again? Yeah. Anyways, decent match. It was a decent match. Carter and Chance wound up getting the win, and it's set up to where this Friday coming up, we got them defending their titles again, this time against Asuka and Kairi, the Kabuki Warriors. And so I definitely can see that's 50-50 shot on that. I can't call on who could win that one. But yeah. Then we also had LA Knight, yeah, dummy, yeah, let me talk to you, going against Uncle Allen, AJ Styles. This was going good, a nice flow, and then it ended in a no contest when Jimmy and Solo came out, wreaked havoc. Then Solo got the mic calling out Randy, saying he wanted his match now, which then led to Randy and Solo's match, and it was going good. Then that Randy wound up getting the win on an RKO, and then it turned into a schmoz, kind of an ending segment where then the Bloodline came out and we're getting ready to go and wreak havoc, and then AJ and Knight came out, and then everyone was going against everyone. And then Roman was in the ring, had Randy down, then went over to Nick Aldis, hand out, took the contract, Duke signed it, sealed, his name's on it, and then when he went to go and assert dominance by taking Randy down to close the show, what does Randy do but boom, pops an RKO out of nowhere. That is it. Stick a fork in it. The show is done. That is it for SmackDown. So with that said, let's get into this week's show. Raw New Orleans. It starts out with Seth Elizabeth Rollins, because his middle name is not frickin' damn it, coming out with a brace on his knee. The news broke after recording last week. Seth injured his knee during his match against Jinder. So yeah, he came out, he was limping, addressed the crowd, and listen, say this the right way. Podcasters that are part of the Main Event Wrestling Network, the Wrestling Junkies podcast and Pod on the Mark, if you've not listened to them, highly recommend you do. They put it best. Seth just needs to be covered up in bubble wrap and kept safe, so that way he doesn't get any more messed up or banged up from here on out until Mania. Now that I've done that and given the guys a good cheap plug, again, Wrestling Junkies and Pot on the Mark, check them out. So, Seth wound up addressing the crowd, point blank. He's got a partially torn ACL, and I believe he also has a minor tear in his meniscus. I don't fully remember the extent of the injuries, but he said, doctors said with surgery and physical therapy, he's out for at least a good 4 to 6 months. And he wanted to do everything possible to keep that title and defend it at WrestleMania. And then out came Imperium. And they wound up, then Gunther just goes, looks at the boys, I don't know, I got this. Addresses Seth, since you've won that championship, you have proven you are a workhorse champion. You work non-stop, day in, day out, no matter the time, the day, what kind of aches or pains you're dealing with, and yet somehow you don't seem to be on my level. Again, paraphrasing this, because he's saying that and then Gunther was saying he hopes Seth gets better. He hopes Seth is at the Rumble, because when he meets him again, he's gonna target his knee. He's gonna target his back. He's gonna do everything possible to beat and break down Seth until he's not more but a greasy smear in his fist, and then walk over him, and then take the World Heavyweight Championship off him. Seth wound up saying, Gunther, listen, got none but respect for you for what you've done with your run with that championship, but if you would have let me finish, the docs say 4 to 6 months rehab. I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to bust my ass and rehab harder than I have ever done before to get back here sooner, just so that way I can defend this title and come back and kick your ass. And then, just as it looks like, next thing you know, Ooh, Imperium's gonna go and do a beatdown on Seth. What happens? New Day shows up out of nowhere. Xavier Woods and returning Kofi. Excuse me. Excuse me, sorry about that. Really need a cough button on this show. Wade, make a note of that. New Day comes out of nowhere, does a sneak attack on Kaiser and the returning Giovanni Vinci, which then leads to our first match of the night, New Day versus Imperium. It was a good match. I dug it. I thought it was good. I dug it. It was a good opening match, and Gio was really red hot out the gate. It was nice to see him back. Glad to see he didn't say this the right way. Glad to see he's not showing any long-term injury from taking that shot to the head. Woods wound up becoming the punching bag, and Kofi got the hot tagging, and I gotta tell you, I dug this because it gave New Day an edge. And while I absolutely love New Day because of the nerdy humor and the nerd aspect that they had, you know, liking Funko Pops, video games, anime, comic books, you know, cartoony stuff, the unicorn things, all that stuff. Well, and all of that is cool. You know, 99.999% of the stuff that they were all big fans of, yo, right here, big nerd, I had no problem with and I absolutely loved. But this gives them an edge and says, you know what? You want to keep fucking with us, you want to fuck around, you're going to find out. And as far as this match went, it turned into a double countout because all four guys were outside fighting each other, and then the ref called for it. Normally you hear the crowd doing ooh because of that, but because of the fact they did not stop and they just kept going and going and going, you didn't really hear much of that. And then it went to the point it was outside of on the other side of the barricade, over by where the sounding equipment is. And then just as it looked like Imperium was about to go and do a double suplex off of a sound booth through a table onto wood, do that to Woods, Kofi came out of nowhere, saved him, and then instead, New Day knocked Imperium over into the tables, and then it was just boof, mayhem. And everyone had to get carried back. So, yeah. Next up, we got women's action. Ivy Nile against Valhalla, and two big takeaways. One, Michael Cole was really borderline Snitsky level, creepy, consistently emphasizing on how Valhalla was barefoot. And two, to address that matter, her character is supposed to be like a Nordic witch. So, for those that may not know, though typically the witches like that, they didn't typically have footwear. Hence, yeah, the look. And the witches also very much so dressed and looked in the same way Valhalla does. So while I see a lot of reasons why people say she looks like she's copying Max the Impaler, it's an entirely different aspect. You know, you don't even have to believe me. If you want to, look it up yourself. Hell, if you want to even just look up something relatively simple for it, go and look up Freya in God of War Ragnarok. You know, see on how she looks. And then compare what she looks like to Valhalla. There you go. As far as the match went, Valhalla, she was leading early on, you know, and at certain points it kind of reminded me like she looked like she was dipping into some of her crazy Mary Dobson days from when she was independent, but I gotta tell you, the ending kind of looked a little sloppy where it looked like Valhalla went to go and reach for the ropes a little too early, but I'm not going to split hairs and argue on that. I try not to be negative as much as possible. I want to try and make a little positive corner on the internet, if you will. Which is saying something because I typically insult people when they do stupid shit. Moving forward, Match came to an end when Ivy started leading near the end by getting a win by doing the bulldog off the top rope. 1, 2, 3. So yeah. I gotta tell you though, Ivy Nile, she fits into the main roster. She fit into the main roster scene like a glove, because she's got a unique look, being super jacked, you know, and she can work. Now I'm not saying she's like a, oh my god, 12-star Tokyo Dome kind of worker, but she can work. So yeah. Next up, we got Dominik Mysterio going against The Miz. And nice little start with Dom leading early on into the break. Miz wound up leading post-break. And probably the main thing that was kind of caught on and was, before that, they showed a backstage segment with Rhea ripping into Judgment Day over certain things. More so, Priest having a match with Drew McIntyre, going again, picking fights with Drew when it wasn't needed. Finn just kind of like laughing at everyone, you know, kind of like the youngest child. Not that I would know from personal experience. Looking at everyone like, they're being stupid. They're being stupid. They're being stupid. And then Rhea like, and you think this is funny? You think this is funny? No. Go out there, show me what kind of vicious side you got. And so Finn, he would go out, and when the ref wasn't looking, Finn would got mean and nasty. Boom! Not trying to go and do like comedy stuff or over the top taunting like kind of shit, but nah. But either way, I liked it. Match came to an end when ref was distracted, and then Finn wound up getting Miz, which then led to Dom being able to hit a 619 and then doing a frog splash on him. Got the 1, 2, 3, and then just as they were about to do a 3-on-1 beatdown, they were in the early cusps of it. Taking them down, and then next thing you know, boom, DIY comes out, they clear ring, and just as they're about to do meet in the middle, to JD, Finn pulls them out and saves them. Next up, we got Chad Gable going against Ivar of the Raiders, and Gable right hot out the gate, right at the start, and Ivar pancaking him leading into the break, and Gable was pretty much punching up post-break. And I gotta tell you, this little made-for-TV feud with Ivar and the Alpha Academy, I kind of dug. I've been digging it because it's been a consistent storyline throughout the past couple weeks, and I like it. I thought that was good. You know, every now and then, well, not every now and then, but in wrestling. You know, with a wrestling show, it's got to be like a variety show. You got to have a little comedy, a little drama, a little sex, a little violence, a little action, a little suspense, all that stuff. And you got to put it all together within 2 to 3 hours. But every now and then you need some consistency. And this had consistency. It was a good match. Match came to an end when Ivar got the win. Gable went up to go for a moonsault, and just as he got up to the top, Valhalla showed up out of nowhere, scaring, not scaring, but just doing a battle scream, doing a shriek, and then Gable just like, huh? The hell? And then Ivar getting him, boom, slamming him down, and then climbing up, doing that doom salt of his, and then getting a 1, 2, 3. Next up, we got Indi, Hartwell, and Candice LeRae going against Shayna Baszler and Zoey Stark. And, man, the air got sucked out of the room during this match. And honestly, and I'm not saying this to be negative, but you had Cody Rhodes and CM Punk squaring off against each other in a promo fight. And this was a promo battle right here. Because both guys came at each other talking about on how, you know, they both got a chip on his shoulder. And it was funny because somebody tried making the argument, well, you need to have, oh, of course they're going to have two ex-AEW guys as the final two in the Royal Rumble. Seriously, dude? I don't drink. I don't drink. Idiots like this make me question why I don't. Yeah. But these two just, it was so much tension right there. Like, if either of these guys had the belt right then and there, I would have said that would have been WrestleMania main event. Like, and there's nothing saying that creative can't stop and think, okay, we need to figure out a way to make CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes WrestleMania main event now. Like, it was just that much wow. But after that, though, this women's tag match had to follow that, and it was just, oh man, just, So yeah, the crowd was dead, and I mean like dead, like you could have heard a mouse piss on a wad of cotton. It was that dead. But Candice and Indi, they were leading for the most part, and match came to an end when Zoey wound up doing a blind tag when Shayna had the Caribou clutch onto Candice. Candice countered it into a pin. Ref wouldn't count it, trying to explain she's not legal. Zoey then comes in, scoops Candice up, boom, hits her with the Z360, 1, 2, 3, that's it. So now we come to main event of the night, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, and this is my favorite kind of match to watch. You got two big athletic guys going at each other, and it's not like just two LJM figures where it's like gah, gah, gah. No, these guys are athletic and they can work. So it's not big meaty men, but it's big athletic guys fighting, which is what I fucking like. And it was this, I gotta say, it was good. Priest, he wound up leading into the commercial break. Drew wound up leading post break. And when I say by leading, it was even when Priest was laying offense on him, the way Drew was moving around in there, though, you could tell he was dictating the pace. And I absolutely dug it. I thought it was a good match. True, as far as the match, easy for me to say. I'm trying to get my words right. Match came to an end when R-Truth wound up coming out trying to give Priest his cut from him selling Judgment Day merch. Truth wound up distracting the ref after Priest wound up hitting the South of Heaven choke slam. And he's like, rolls up to like 1, 2, 3. Gets up, goes and sees Truth, and then just like, I've had enough of this shit. Grabs him, takes him down, knocks down Truth, and then just as he turns around, wham! Gets hit with the Claymore. 1, 2, 3. Your winner, Drew McIntyre. So, this is one of the most loveliest things about this time of year with the Royal Rumble. So much unpredictability. I absolutely love it. I love it when creative is this hot right now because it is so unpredictable. I can't see on who wins or loses, and that's when it's best for me. Because blessing and a curse on how my brain works, I can see roughly 80 to 90% of the time on how it's going to go down. This time I can't, and good God, I love it. I love this time of year because of that. So, either way, that is it for this week's show, folks. So please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave any interesting and all complaints, questions, concerns, comments down below. share the video. Also, thank you to contributor of the show, LFC Lingerie's Fighting Championship, and a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. Also, check out LFC on Tubi. It costs $0 to help contribute to that. But if you do want to throw out a few dollars to help contribute to someone, go to whatmaneuver.net, get some Vicious Rants apparel and help support the show. T-shirts, tanks, hoodies, long sleeves, short sleeves, unisex, women's tees, infant shirts, onesies and toppers tees. Perfect gift for somebody to love, somebody you hate, or if you just want to buy a shirt to give to Goodwill so you can keep your stuff. Excuse me. Don't forget to check out these cats right here on Twitter. DSB_IV, main event _net, the main event wrestling network count, Sergeant Curry Pants, 3 Count Thursday, and T-Dyer 1986. And folks, like I always tell y'all, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.